Hello, my dear farmers! Today I'll be covering one of my favorite games, a farming RPG that changed my life and made me the person I am. Do you like gambling? Do you hate the very concept of privacy, so you can spy on people, rummage through their belongings, and straight up barge into someone's house at night? That may sound like boundary violations, but I assure you, it's completely normal behavior in Stardew Valley. Released in 2016 by Concerned Ape, it's an open-ended, country life RPG, where you can become a millionaire just by selling a large number of lubricants. Despite being almost a decade old, it's still one of the most popular games on Steam. All of that thanks to one man, Eric Baroni, who single-handedly created this masterpiece and kept updating it for many years, completely free. God bless this guy. So, aside from the developer, what's so special about Stardew Valley? Everything. It's the game that lets you live your wildest fantasies, such as owning a home, being financially stable, having friends, and even riding your own horse, which is called Boner. The game takes place in Pelican Town, an old-fashioned community full of mysteries, hot women, and insane prices. It's a world where building a silo costs less than buying a salad. Inflation has hit Stardew Valley hard. Everyone pays tariffs. That's why each vendor will charge you a fortune for a single pizza. No wonder lionesses search in trash cans every night. How else are you supposed to feed yourself with such prices? You either live in poverty or find opportunities to get rich. And luckily, the valley is full of them. You can flood the market with your own products, crush the competition, and establish a monopoly. The game doesn't follow the rules of supply and demand, so you don't need to worry about diversifying. Just make wine, sell, repeat, until you become a millionaire, and finally be able to afford anything from local vendors. Wait, how much again? For a single gold ore? Like hell I'm buying it! What happened to this community? Once upon a time, everyone worked together to make Pelican Town a better place. But ever since Joja came in, life hasn't been the same. A giant store owned by a mega corporation opens up in the countryside, offering poor townsfolk cheaper groceries and constant discounts. How could it possibly be bad? I mean, surely they are not just trying to run Pierre out of business so they can get a monopoly in the area and then quietly jack up prices for all consumers. That would be really evil to leave people without an alternative. And Joja Corporation, which dumps their toxic waste into sewers and pollutes every body of water in the valley with their flagship product, would never do such a thing. They are just trying to make life better by providing jobs with a competitive salary of 5 gold an hour. Also, Joja thinks it would be really great to turn the old community center into a warehouse. So what if once upon a time it was the town's most vibrant hub of activity? Nobody cares anymore, and with your little help, Pelican Town could use the money. Remember, you are destined to change this community, for better or worse. But first, you need to make a character and select your farm. There are a lot of customization options to choose from, and yes, you can be bold. Not gonna lie, color sliders leave much to be desired, because the hue bars don't really match the RGB or hex system, so the best way to make a good color is just dragging them here and there. When it comes to your favorite thing, just answer honestly, there is nothing to be ashamed of. Aside from your preferred animal, you can also select your farm. There are currently 8 different farm types to choose from, and I'm gonna cover them all. Let's start with Standard Farm, the place where I spent like 90% of my playtime. It may not be as beautiful as other farm types, but it has the biggest plot of farming land, which is perfect if you're a new player who doesn't like restrictions, or a seasoned veteran who likes to make a ridiculous amount of money. Basically, it's like a blank canvas that you can fill with anything like plants, animals, or buildings, especially buildings. For that reason alone, Standard Farm always was and always will be the best farm in the game. Also, don't make my mistakes. I went a little overboard with the size of my fields, and now it takes a whole day to plant them with crops. Truly, human greed knows no bounds. Next is the Riverland Farm, the true choice of all strugglers. I genuinely don't know who else plays with this farm, because you lose like half of the farming land to water, and the only benefit you get is a convenient source of river and forest fish near your house. It's a scam, literally. If you want to have no money, no bitches, and always get stuck near bridges, go play here. Surely, the 1.6 update made it a little bit more tolerable in early game, because you start with a fish smoker, but in the long run, the general lack of space and convoluted map design are still gonna bite you in the ass. And like most players, you start here once, realize it's complete dog shit, and never touch it again. The forest farm is one of the most beautiful maps in the game, primarily because of its border, which is exactly the same as in Secret Woods. It looks aesthetically pleasing, and I love watching how the trees and foliage change color with each season. It has the same problem with farming space as the Riverland farm, but in this case, you're not limited by water, you're limited by large grass areas that cannot be tilled. Luckily, you can build on them just fine, so it's not that bad. Occasionally, you will get seasonal forage items, such as dandelions, spice berries, and mushrooms, but the main feature of this farm is the 8 large stumps on the left side of the map. They regenerate every day, allowing you to farm additional hardwood, and after acquiring some mahogany seeds, you can streamline the process and accumulate large amounts of the most valuable wood in the game. Back in the days, we had to grind that shit in the Secret Woods, and considering you could get only 12 pieces a day, it was an extremely fun and enjoyable experience. Luckily, Concerned Ape took pity on us and added mahogany trees, so now, with enough seeds, you can grow yourself hundreds of hardwood and lose it all crafting fences. I have mixed feelings about Hilltop Farm. On the one hand, I love it. The layout looks really great, but optimizing it for space sucks ass. In some ways, it's even worse than Riverland. Iridium sprinklers won't fit anywhere, and if they do, it looks terrible. On the bright side, you don't need to worry about money, because you won't be getting any of it. Crops are out of question, so for a long time, your only source of income will be animals. Don't sleep on them. Hilltop encourages creativity, critical thinking, and of course, mining. Its main feature is a quarry on the southwest part of the map, so if you're a fellow miner, you can always get some ore here. Just make sure the path isn't blocked by large stumps or stones, and if it is, I recommend re-rolling the map, because it kinda ruins the only benefit of this farm in the early game. Overall, if your goal is to make the most visually interesting farm and you don't mind playing for 8 years, try Hilltop. The Wilderness Farm is probably the most underrated map in the game, and I don't know why, because it takes 3rd place for tillable land. Yes, the obnoxiously large pond in the middle will make your life difficult, but still, there is more than enough space for animals and crops. Just make sure you're not coming from the mines with low HP, because one iridium bat out of nowhere and you're pretty much dead. Yes, enemies spawn every night, and they scale with your combat level. I've played here a few times, but never stayed for too long. It's not bad, just not for me, because I don't like the idea that each day some random schmucks will be ganging up on me on my own farm, my sanctuary, the place where I raise children. It's annoying. Of course you can turn it off later, but until then, you'll have to tolerate their presence. Also, for this farm, I'd rather stick with hammers. Unlike swords, they can destroy grass, which is important for your animals. The Four Corners is the 2nd biggest farm in the game, and pretty much the ideal choice for multiplayer. There's a little bit of everything from other farms, like a regenerating stump, a small quarry, and even a little pond where you can catch some fish. The layout is divided by cliffs, but there's still plenty of space for animals, crops, whatever. And if you're playing with 3 other people, each of them can have a distinct area just for themselves. So, if you have friends, Four Corners is a no-brainer. The beach farm is that one layout you should try at least once. It's unique, it's beautiful, and if you need even more reasons to play here, just look at this shit. Isn't that cute? I've never seen ducks swimming on any of my other farms, but here they absolutely can. There are plenty of other benefits, like lots of open space, easy access to all ocean's treasures, and supply crates filled with random loot that gets significantly better depending on how many times you upgraded your farmhouse. The trade-off, however, is that sprinklers don't work on sand, and the only place you can use them is blocked by large stumps. So, unless you have a steel axe, forget about automation. Surprisingly, the grass still grows on sand, allowing you to raise animals. On the beach farm, animals are your main source of income, because who needs crops when you can turn this place into a pig heaven, earning hundreds of thousands every single day, unless it's raining. Another great choice for animal lovers is the Meadowlands farm. In Instead of parsnips, you start the game with 15 hay, 1 coop and 2 chickens. The main feature of this map is blue grass. It grows randomly on the farm and doubles the friendship gain for your animals, as long as they eat it. I'm currently in my 3rd year, and the last time I saw bluegrass was before winter, about 2 years ago. That's fine though, because all my animals already have maximum friendship, thanks to the autopatters I found in the mines. Sure, the layout has the same problems with farming space as the forest farm, but you know what? I don't care, because it looks absolutely beautiful thanks to my new farm design that I stole from a more creative person. We've talked about farms, now let's move to the story. You play as a former corporate slave who used to work for Joja, a mega corporation that loves its workers, so long as they don't mind unpaid overtime, constant surveillance, and sharing the workplace with a fucking corpse. One day, you remember your grandpa gave you a letter. Inside it says he's left you a farm in Stardew Valley. Tired of the never-ending grind of your current life, you pack your things and leave the city behind to start over from scratch in the countryside. Unfortunately, your inheritance is less farm and more like a post-apocalyptic vid sanctuary. The mayor says it's your problem now, and just like that, you trade wage slavery for actual slavery. Now it's time to touch grass and make grandpa proud by turning this shithole into a successful and prospering farm. Being a farmer is not easy. Each day you have to wake up at 6 AM, regardless of how late you went to bed or which bush you passed out next to. Your objective is anything: mine ore, fight monsters, plant crops, explore the town, and try to make new friends. Stardew Valley won't lead you by the hand. Instead, it gives you a few pointers and leaves you to work out the rest on your own. Your only limitation is the energy bar on the bottom right. If it reaches 0, you become exhausted. In this state, you move very slowly and lose half of your energy the next day. Naturally, food restores energy, so you can eat some raw fish, run to the clinic, and buy a muscle remedy to cure your condition. But who am I kidding? No, you don't. The clinic is always closed when you need it, and muscle remedy costs 1000 gold. So, I recommend doing what every drunkard does in real life. Keep wasting energy until you pass out on the floor, praying that you won't get mugged, stabbed, or fucked. And the next day, you magically wake up in your bed, because someone dragged you home out of pity. In the early game, it's easy to overwork yourself, because most of the tools require energy. And considering you're playing as a city dweller with no skills, you'll be tired 4 hours into the day. But worry not, just like in real life, the more you do something, the easier it gets. The difference between level 0 and level 10 in any of the following skills is night and day. Not only do you learn new recipes, become more proficient in using tools, and waste less energy, but at level 5 and 10, you also unlock professions that can significantly change your playstyle. Our character has 5 different skills, tied to each of the in-game activities. Farming is literally your bread and butter. This is how you earn money. In the early game, this is done by selling crops, and in the late game, by mass-producing artisan goods like wine, honey, aged raw, and truffle oil. The higher your farming level, the better the quality of your harvested crops. Do you want even more golden vegetables, less watering, or maybe faster growth? Try fertilizers. Unfortunately, out of the dozen options, only 2 are viable: basic fertilizer and deluxe speed grow. Basic fertilizer improves the soil quality, allowing you to get more quality crops. It's cheap, easily available, and has no downsides. Deluxe speed grow is a bit more complicated. Starting from year 2, you can buy it from Pierre for 150 gold, or visit the Oasis on Thursday and get it for half the price. Either way, it's well worth it, because it's the only thing that lets you squeeze an extra harvest into a season. Retaining soil is just meh. For the crafting price of 2 stones, it gives you almost 0 benefits, just a small chance to keep soil watered. I know some people like to use it, but I just don't get why, because it's relatively easy to make sprinklers, and I'd rather save my stones for buildings. Like any other skills, farming lets you select 2 professions. At level 5, it's a choice between rancher and tiller. Basically, more money from animal products or crops. Just like me, a long time ago, you might think that rancher is obviously the better choice, especially if your main source of income is mayonnaise and cheese. But you would be wrong, because Rancher gives you the most useless level 10 professions in the game. Befriend animals faster, reduced incubation time. Who the fuck even uses incubators? Now, compared with Tiller, we get 10% more money from crops, then at level 10 pick Artisan and get 40% more money from Artisan goods. Considering that the late game is nothing but mass-producing artisan goods, Tiller is literally free money from thin air. Since most crops are seasonal, you'll quickly learn that timing is everything. When summer arrives, your spring crops will all die out, so plan ahead, because each season has only 28 days. You come to the valley in spring, the best time for potatoes, cauliflowers and strawberries. However, since you're just starting out as a farmer, don't expect big profits. Time is limited and we don't have enough money to buy seeds. But most importantly, we don't have enough energy to water them. That's why the true goal of spring isn't to get rich, but to gain as much farming experience as possible before summer, so we can reach level 6 quicker, unlock sprinklers, and forget about watering our crops for the rest of the game. Conversely, the best way to level up farming is by harvesting a fuck ton of crops and petting your animals every day. If you manage to do that, summer changes everything. By selling tons of blueberries and melons, you'll have enough cash to cover your expenses and start the next season fully prepared. Fall isn't called the king of profits for nothing. With cranberries and pumpkins, you can turn your farm into a money printer, which is great, because the next season isn't very profitable. There is not much farming in winter, all your fields are empty, and animals just stay inside their buildings. I hope you didn't forget to buy them a heater, otherwise they will slowly freeze, losing all their love and respect for you as a farmer. I like my winters the way I like my neighbors. All white. Okay, maybe less white. Seriously, every time it snows, you can't see shit. So usually, I just teleport to the desert and spend the whole day in the Skull Cavern. Speaking of which, mining. Obviously, we don't live on crops alone. To even make sprinklers, we need a lot of ore. And not just some basic copper ore from the lower levels, but iron and gold. That means we need to go even deeper into the mines. You gain access to them on the 5th day of spring, when Joja finally removes the landslide caused by their entirely legal drilling operation. Here we mine every greystone, every piece of ore, and kill every single monster that dares to stand in our way. To get deeper, you'll need to find ladders. There's no easy way to make them appear faster, because your chances are always affected by daily luck and by how many stones remain on the floor. Yes, each day your character has different luck. You can check it by right-clicking on the TV and selecting Fortune Teller. If you see something like "The spirits are very happy today," you'll find plenty of ladders just by mining ore and fighting monsters. But if it says "The spirits are very displeased," your mining trip might turn into a little quest where you'll probably waste all your energy before finding a way down. It's funny that just a few days ago my character was living his soulless corporate life full of misery and stable income. Now I'm working in a literal coal mine without pay, food or health and safety, and I've never been happier. Every 5 floors you get an elevator, which means your progress is secured. Think of it as a checkpoint, because any level where you found an elevator can be revisited at any time. This is especially convenient if you need to farm monsters that spawn on certain floors or quickly mine a specific ore. If you're still suffering from a lack of energy, it's the best time to visit the local blacksmith. For a reasonable price and a few metal bars, he can upgrade your tools, allowing you to work faster and hit harder. I highly encourage you to upgrade your pickaxe before going deeper into the mines. Otherwise, you will waste a lot of time and energy hitting the same rock 2 or 3 times instead of once. There's not much money directly from mining. Remember, we are not mining to get rich, we're mining to get resources, so we can expand our farming production and increase our income exponentially. Everything you find in the mines can be used for crafting, building, building, and even bribing the local townsfolk. That's why when we talk about professions, miner versus geologist isn't really a debate. We always need more ore. There is simply no point in the game where ore becomes useless. Quite the opposite. In the late game, once you start crafting crystallariums, you will need those gold bars more than ever. And with miner, you get tons of it. Sure, geologist unlocks better professions at level 10, but they aren't worth shit if you don't have a few sheds producing diamonds. That's why I always pick miner for more ore, then go with prospector for extra coal. And when I finally feel satisfied with my mineral production, only then do I switch to gemologist. Similar to mining, foraging is all about robbing Mother Nature of her precious treasures. Every wild fruit, flower or berry that isn't nailed to the ground goes straight into our inventory. Sorry Linus, I know berries are your main source of food, but I've already collected all of them and I'm not gonna share. It's nothing personal, but farming consumes a lot of energy and right now I have no other way to restore it. It's not a joke, the prices on food in this game are insane, so for a long time your only source of nutrition will be roots and berries found in the forest. They all change with the seasons and are absolutely essential for many bundles in the community center, but more on that later. Right now, you need to understand that foraging is a good source of extra income and flowers are universal gifts for most villagers. Foraging is also one of the hardest skills to level up, so if your free time doesn't include chopping every tree on the map, it's probably gonna be the last skill where you reach level 10. Luckily, there are easier ways to level up foraging, namely seasonal seeds and the secret forest. If you don't mind watering 30 extra tiles, seasonal seeds are basically free XP. You can get them as a reward from foraging bundles or craft your own from a few wild plants. If you already cleared all the giant stumps in the farm, secret forest is a great way to get more hardwood and foraging experience. Unlike regular trees, stumps there respawn every day, so you don't have to wait. And if you want even more hardwood, you can always choose forester at level 5. Or you can take gatherer for double harvest, then at level 10 pick botanist, and all your foraged items will always be the highest quality. Obviously, iridium items are worth more, but more importantly, they stack. That means instead of a mishmash of items with different quality, you will have tidy chests with plenty of space. Honestly, just pick whatever. There is no such thing as a bad decision when you're choosing between more wood and double harvest. Many forage items can also be used for cooking. You know, roots and berries are cool and all, but I would gladly have some hot meal. Don't worry, with a new house upgrade and a little dedication, soon enough you'll be feasting on delicacies such as crab cakes and spicy eel, chugging them down with triple shot espresso and enjoying your movement speed. There are a total of 81 dishes in this game, with different buffs and crafting recipes that vary in usefulness. They all look delicious and nutritious. The problem is that only a few of them give you a speed buff, which is crucial for your efficiency, because each day is about 14 minutes in real life. Think about how many things you can do moving like this. And now look at this shit. The difference is quite staggering, so you should always prioritize food that increases your speed. The easiest and probably the fastest option is green tea. I always neglected it in the past, because it only gave the most useless buff in the game, max energy. But now, after the 1.6 update, it also gives you speed. However, smaller than coffee, but it's easier to make and lasts up to 4 minutes. All you need to do is plant some tea saplings and wait until they grow. They don't require watering, just come and harvest them at the end of each season. You can get the recipe for saplings in your first spring if you increase your relationship with Pierre's wife, a hot, green-haired woman named Caroline. I don't know how he managed to pull this beauty, but I know for sure that if he continues to neglect her, soon enough she will be my wife. Anyway, fishing. I don't know why people hate it so much, since it's the easiest way to make money early on. It sure is repetitive, but each day you can earn thousands of gold, and occasional treasure chests nicely spice things up. Also, while fishing, you don't have to worry about energy, because a few quality fish can completely restore it. This is what corporate life does to a man. I don't fucking care anymore if it's a raw fish or some green slimy shit. I'm getting my energy one way or another. And before you ask, yes, it's perfectly balanced. Back in 2016 I thought, damn, I hope the developer won't make all raw fish inedible, so we actually have to cook them. But I was wrong, because in the 1.4 update, Concerned Ape did the last thing I expected. He made fishing even more OP. Now, with higher fishing skill, getting a perfect catch on a gold quality fish increases its quality to iridium, essentially doubling its price. Oh, and for just 25 gold, you can now buy the training rod, so even the clumsiest players can easily catch fish early on. Seriously, it's amazing. Just throw your bamboo pole in the trash and use the training rod until you have enough money to afford a new one. Trust me, it's well worth it, because with the fiberglass rod you can use all kinds of bait, which significantly increases your catch rate, allowing you to get more fish every day. More fish, more money, more opportunities, and less whining about completely normal minigames. And we haven't even talked about tackles yet. Are you tired of those annoying fish that keep jumping up and down? Do you want to make them slower? Because with a trap bobber, you absolutely can. Fishing bar isn't big enough for you? Try a cork bobber. Want an even faster bite rate? Well, there's tackle for that too. If you have the advanced version of the iridium rod, you can use up to 2 tackles at the same time. But honestly, even one of them will be a huge help with legendary fish. Stardew Valley has nearly 70 different types of fish, and each one comes with its own conditions. Some only show up in certain seasons, some need specific weather, and others hang out in particular spots, like ocean, lakes, toxic sewers, rivers, or even lava. So, if you want to catch them all, you'll have to plan around seasons and locations. Just like with foraging, all professions in fishing are viable. In fact, you will likely switch between them at different stages of the game to get the most out of it. For example, at level 5 we have Trapper, which is perfect for late game, because you can get tons of trash and seafood from crab pots. And thanks to Lure Master, they won't even require bait. However, early on we don't need anything except money, so I recommend choosing Fisher instead. That way, at level 10 we can get Angler and increase fish prices even more. Alternatively, you can pick Pirate, get a 30% chance to find treasures while fishing, and just like me, end up addicted to it. You see, normally I stop fishing as soon as farming starts bringing in some real money, but now Pirate keeps fueling my interest with treasures. What's inside is totally random. You might get something extremely valuable or just a few pieces of soggy wood. I'll never forget how on the 3rd day of spring I fished up an iridium band from a treasure chest. That never happened again, so in my latest run I tried my luck once more. I did everything to increase my chances: magnets, treasure hunters, happy spirits, but in the end it was simply not worth it. Because for maybe 1 or 2 extra chests you lose a fuck ton of iron and gold. Yes, I know you can buy magnets at the casino, but unfortunately that was nerfed, limiting the amount of items you can buy each day. Let me tell you how you're actually supposed to fish for treasures. You equip the crusty Mayor's shorts in the tackle slot, deluxe bait for faster bite rate, and cast your purple bobber into the water. That's it, no magnets, no treasure hunters. Pirate already gives us a solid chance to catch treasures. Now, all that is left to do is speed up the process. Combat is your only option when mining inevitably goes wrong. Higher levels give you more HP, which doesn't matter, because if you forgot to bring food, you will die after getting jumped by serpents. That's right, I'm talking about the one and only Skull Cavern.
Drink my milk.
An endless mine filled with dangerous monsters that can wipe out all of your HP in a few seconds. The trade-off, however, is that this place is filled with iridium, the most valuable ore in the game. Unfortunately, large quantities of it start appearing only after 100 floors, so stock up on bombs, food and staircases. You'll need them. The combat system itself is straightforward. You swing your weapon, block attacks with your sword, or just try to dodge enemies manually. Weapons range from slow but powerful clubs to balanced swords to fast daggers, each with different attack patterns. In the late game, you can even enhance your weapons with gems, enchant them, and combine 2 rings into one. There's a lot of rings in this game, most of which you will never use, because our character has only 2 slots for them, and naturally, we're gonna fill them with bands that have the best passive benefits, such as complete immunity to slimes, bigger light radius, twice as much loot from any monster, and of course, luck. As you already know from mining, luck affects almost everything in Stardew Valley. Critical chance, treasure chests, special animal products, even the amount of wood you gain from a tree. That's why eating magic rock candy, chugging it down with seasoned ginger ale, and wearing 2 lucky rings on a lucky day is the best strategy to find treasure rooms. Ah yes, another turban. Let me just throw it in the trash. If you struggle with leveling your combat, just use Monster Mask in the Skull Cavern. The amount of XP you will get will be tremendous, provided that you manage to survive. It's worth mentioning that combat isn't the main focus of the game, so it doesn't really matter if you decide to go full damage or put your faith into crits. I've played with Scout for as long as I can remember and have no complaints. It's oddly satisfying seeing massive crit numbers when you obliterate your enemies. Everything was perfect until recently, when I decided to go with Fighter and got my ass whooped by magma sprites. I did everything to get maximum damage on my sword, Fighter, Brute, 3 forgings, but even then it's still frustrating to deal with flying enemies, because after a few hits they just phase through the walls and now you have to wait until they come back. I'm sorry, Fighter fans. You can glaze your additional damage all you want, while the average Scout player annihilates every enemy in a single hit. In all seriousness, Stardew Valley isn't just about farming crops, chopping trees, and mining ore while fending off monsters. I mean, sure, that's a major part of gameplay, especially in the early game, when everything you do is busy watering your fields, rummaging through trash, and maybe doing some fishing. But at its core, it's the game about the most valuable thing in this life: connections with other people and nature. There are dozens of NPCs in Stardew Valley, from humans to talking animals to midgets and even shadow people. Each of them has unique dialogues, schedules, and favorite gifts. In this game, bribing people with gifts is the fastest way to increase friendship. Don't mind me, Penny, I'm just here to give children some beer. The difference between offering someone their favorite meal and a piece of garbage is night and day. Preferably, try saving something good for their birthday, so you can easily get 2 hearts worth of friendship in a single day. As your relationships grow, you start learning more about villagers, their backstories, personalities, and desires. This happens through cutscenes, or heart events, as they are also called. Here, depending on your choices, you can either improve your friendship with people or trample it into the dirt. So choose wisely and don't skip the cutscenes. Unless you're playing in multiplayer, where the game doesn't pause, and one cutscene can take half a day. I've played with a couple of friends throughout the years, and the only feeling I can remember from those times is constant stress from moving time. You can't relax in multiplayer, because the clock is always ticking, and it's extremely annoying that you have to coordinate with your friends about who's gonna use Robin next. But maybe I'm just a selfish person who hates sharing. Don't get me wrong, it's great that we have multiplayer in the game, but personally, I don't find it enjoyable. For me, Stardew Valley always was and always will be a single-player game where I can decompress and play at my own pace. The problem is, I've spent too much time here and can no longer play it like a normal human being. Each of my playthroughs is basically a never-ending grind for more money, more resources, and more influence. But you can do whatever you want, and for the love of God, don't listen to people who judge you for that. Wow, it's your 5th year, and the only thing you have on that farm is 1 fish pond and 100 fried eggs? What a loser. Fuck those people. The game doesn't have a time limit, so you can enjoy it at your own pace. But I digress. The best part about friendship is that it works both ways. When you become friends with local townspeople, they can also send you gifts, and even secret family recipes. Once I decided to befriend Kent, a military veteran who returns to the valley in year 2. He's a nice guy, has a little PTSD after war, so I wasn't really surprised when he started sending bombs to my mailbox. I also like his wife. Jody is another beauty of Pelican Town, and after having dinner with her, I almost feel like part of the family. Why do you keep doing this to me, Eric? I know we have plenty of other characters to romance, but the people I'd like to marry are already taken. Speaking of which, marriage. There are 12 single characters in this game that you can date, marry, and eventually start a family with. Unfortunately, children can't be put to child labor and serve only as ornaments to be owned and displayed. But you can put heads on them. That's at least something.
When you can even say my name.
After years of romance in different characters, I've settled down on two options. The first one is Pierre's daughter, Abigail, the girl with an insatiable appetite for precious stones. Not gonna lie, the 14 heart cutscene sucks ass, because how the fuck did some grass zombie manage to beat me in a single hit? Come on, it's embarrassing. But anyway, she and Haley are always my go-to choices if I decide to start a new playthrough. You might disagree with me on the last one, saying that some blonde bimbo who is constantly mean towards you can't possibly make a good wife, but you would be wrong. Haley is the definition of character development. The more you get to know her, the more you realize that deep down she's actually a very good person, and her 14 heart event is the best proof of it. She's also extremely hot and has the best spouse dialogues in the entire game. Considering that by the late game your farm is fully automated, the quality of dialogues is a valid reason to choose your wife, because aside from filling your pet's bowl, cooking some meals and repairing fences, spouses can't really do much more to help around the farm. I have only one small issue with Haley.
If I chop you up in a meat grinder, and the only thing that comes out that's left of you is your eyeball.
Every time she calls me handsome, I can't help but think that I'm about to be murdered. Life flashes before my eyes as my brain recalls the memory of this man and his lifeless gaze. Look, we can sit here for hours discussing why Lewis is a terrible mayor who spends the town's taxes on his personal project, while children have to use old books that keep falling apart, or cleanse incel behavior, ridiculous prices, and the thing he says to you during Green Rain. To this day I keep thinking about this dialogue and the fact that out of all people you hear it from Clint. Nonetheless, I completely agree. Give this man a true. The point is, I can physically cover every character in the game, so I'll stop on a few of them. Let's start with Marnie, the bane of my existence. Many players, including me, don't like her, and rightly so, because who the fuck takes 2 days off at the start of each week? My animals are starving, Marnie. Come back to the fucking counter and do your job. It's not like you have other clients who can afford such prices anyway. I get it. Raising a little girl while living with an alcoholic man-child must be tough. If I were you, I would also stare at that microwave for hours. But come on, lady, I just need one pig. It's like a minute of your time. Thank God Concerned Ape added the animal catalog to this game. Now we can access Marnie's shop even when she's not at the counter. If it wasn't for that, I would probably go insane. When we talk about the most hated characters in Stardew Valley, the first person that comes to mind is definitely Pierre. I don't want to talk shit about my father-in-law, but to put it nicely, Pierre is not a very good person. Aside from being a former boxer, a bad husband, and a struggling businessman driven only by greed, he is also an abusive liar. If you sell him gold quality crops, he takes credit for it, saying that he grew them in his own backyard. But when it comes to regular quality ones, or pretty much anything else, he blames it on you. When I first started playing this game, I didn't like him at all, but as time went by, I learned to appreciate his dedication as a businessman. After all, it must be hard to mortgage your own home, wife, and even daughter, just so a new farmer could buy a fuck ton of seeds. If you ever need to buy or sell anything related to fishing, Willie is your guy. Unlike Pierre, he doesn't lie about the products you sold him, which is nice. However, you should always watch your back around him, because as soon as you start fishing, he likes to snuggle you from behind. I like Willie, he's one of my favorite NPCs, but clearly the dude needs to learn about personal boundaries. There's a common knowledge in Pelican Town: never ask a woman her age, a man his salary, and Mayor Lewis why he needs truffle oil. Truffle oil, the great equalizer. Some see it as just a culinary ingredient to make food taste a little richer, but it's more than that, it's essential. You see, the world is a dry place, full of ashiness and rough skin, but with just a few drops of truffle oil, all that changes. It glistens, it shines. With it, you ascend from basic to legendary. People will ask why. Why so much? Why the shine? They won't understand the finesse, the glow. But I'll tell you this, it's not about them, it's about the perfection. You don't apply truffle oil for them, you apply it for yourself, because when you look in the mirror, you don't want to see anything less than greatness. happiness, anything less than moisturized glory. In the end, they will all see the truth. Everyone shines when I shine. Aside from other people's shenanigans, the game has seasonal festivals where the whole town gathers to celebrate. They are entirely optional, and you can skip them without any consequences. However, I don't recommend you do that, because these events are more than just fun distractions. They make Pelican Town feel alive. You'll take part in an egg hunt, dance with your crush at the flower dance, show off your farm's produce at the fair, or wander through the spooky maze in search of treasure. But Knight, why would I ever go to this stupid egg hunt multiple times when I've already seen everything? Because, my dear farmer, they are never the same. I know, I was surprised too when I visited every festival for 2 years straight and realized that each time NPCs had different placements, new dialogue, and so on. And it's not just festivals that make Pelican Town feel alive. Characters live their lives, greet each other, and every Friday, most of them gather at the saloon. Words can't describe how happy I was when in the 1.5 update we finally got the ability to sit on chairs, couches, and pretty much anything that was previously nothing more than decorations. Now I can finally drink with my buddies without looking out of place. It's these small details that make the game truly special to me. Anyway, with all that talking, I completely forgot about Community Center, one of your main objectives in this game. Essentially, we need to restore this dilapidated building by making offerings to cute little apples. They call themselves Junimos and will gladly help us with magic in exchange for various gifts from the valley. There are a total of 6 rooms and 30 bundles to complete in Community Center. During character creation, you can remix the bundles to spice up your playthrough or go with the standard ones, well known to veteran players. Completing a bundle gives you reward. Completing all bundles in one room gives you special reward that sometimes benefits the entire community. I'm talking about fast travel, new locations, and greenhouse, where you can plant any crops regardless of the season. Unfortunately, once you've finished all bundles in Community Center, there is no reason to ever go inside again. All that blood and sweat, and for what exactly? 4 or 5 people change their schedules to visit the place, Pierre starts working on Wednesdays, and Joja Mart becomes abandoned. Aside from that, absolutely nothing else changes. People simply don't care, and surprisingly, so does the mayor, because after all this time, Louis didn't even bother to move his ass into a new office. Alternatively, you can buy a Joja membership, turn Community Center into a warehouse, and strengthen the Mega Corporation's grip on Pelican Town even more. No more bundles, only community development projects. Similar to Junimos, Morris and his crew can complete any of them, and they don't even need magic, just your money. It's probably the easiest way to get auto patters and repair greenhouse, but is it worth it? No, because in this route you receive no rewards, no friendship, and it actually slows your progress. Instead of investing money into your farm and potentially earning even more, you keep paying Joja for projects that can be easily finished with items, turning your game into a boring money grind. You might think I restored Community Center to make Pelican Town a better place, to help Junimos return to the forest, while in reality I did it to profit from their labor. Because with 9 star fruits, you can build Junimo huts on your farm and get cute, immortal slaves. All I do is feed them some raisins and watch as they harvest even more of my crops. Now, everyone in town calls me a local hero, but the truth is, I'm just another capitalist trying to make more money. Because the golden clock won't buy itself, and 10 million is no joke. If you fixed Community Center and thought to yourself, well, this is it, looks like I finally finished the game, I'm sorry to disappoint you, my friend, but that was barely scratching the surface. Stardew Valley is huge and has tons of endgame content. You can meet with Grandpa, build a movie theater, gamble on slot machines for exclusive items, and of course, grind your way to perfection. There is also Ginger Island, a new world area full of parrots, mysteries, and many hours of gameplay. Collect golden walnuts, solve puzzles, and unlock full access to every part of the island, such as Volcano Dungeon, filled with the most obnoxious enemies in the game, Dig Site, full of ancient bones, clay, and strange noises, and most importantly, a new farm area, where, similar to Greenhouse, you can plant any crops, regardless of the season. Honestly, we don't deserve Concerned Ape. He had every right to turn 1.5 update into paid DLC. I and many other players would gladly buy it just to support him, because the game costs only $10, and all these years years, he's been updating it completely free. I played the shit out of this farming RPG back in 2016, mainly because the only two games my computer could run were Stardew Valley and Counter-Strike 1.6, until you throw a smoke grenade. So yeah, even for a pixel game, it's very optimized, and I'm really grateful for that. It may sound silly, but I still cherish those happy memories of being a dumb kid playing Stardew Valley and being blown away by how smoothly the game ran. Now that I've glazed this game all over, it's time to talk about the biggest downside of Stardew Valley, an outrageous, unjust fact that haunts me to this very day. You can't date Robin. Please, Eric, I beg you. Demetrius needs to go. Robin deserves a real husband in her life, and we as players are ready to fulfill that role. She already spends more time on my farm than at her own house. So what's the problem? In all seriousness, it's a shame that Concerned Ape didn't have enough time to make more NPCs romanceable, because I would sure as fuck marry every mom in this game, especially Robin. I get it, ruining a marriage may be a little harsh for such wholesome game, but what about Sandy? You can't marry even her, and she is supposedly single. I hope someday, out of the blue, he will bless us with a new update that expands the list of marriage candidates, or at least make a new poll to choose a few of them. Because the last one was back in 2016, and I can't fucking believe that people chose Shane over the wizard. Coming back to the topic of skills, I always dreamed about new perks, because there are only 2 of them for 10 levels, which obviously isn't enough. Luckily, the latest update took a huge step in that direction and fulfilled my wish in the form of masteries. Basically, one final level for each skill, with new recipes, items, and quality of life features that save you tons of time. It's worth mentioning that you start earning mastery points only after maxing out all skills, and thanks to foraging and combat, that can take a while. Good news is, the mastery bar has a shared experience pool, so it's easy to level up, and if you made a habit of clearing out the Skull Cavern, you'll be choosing your first mastery in a few days. Unfortunately, aside from masteries, the 1.6 update added a really annoying bug. No, I'm not talking about horses that can walk through fences. That's been in the game since the start, so at this point, I consider it a feature. I'm talking about that stupid shit that stunlocks your game. It happened to me like 8 times, because during fights, I tried to eat something too fast, and it broke the food menu. Also, what the hell is wrong with Kids RNG? I've been married for a year, and Haley never asked me to have kids. Please, Concerned Ape, let me fuck my wife. It's not related to the fact that each day I return home around 2 AM. I know this because once I passed out in the mines and was immediately asked by Abigail to reproduce. But none of that is even remotely close to farming dragon teeth. You see, I don't like the volcano, but I really needed some resources from there. The only alternative I had to get those resources without stepping foot in that hellhole was to fill my fish ponds with stingrays. Little did I know that stingrays are fucking broken. Well, it's either that or I'm extremely unlucky. The whole purpose of putting them into fish ponds was to easily farm dragon teeth, because this shit is rare. 2 seasons later, I have a fuck ton of roe, a few batteries, and 2 dragon teeth. For reference, I wasted twice as much on their stupid quests, so now I'm deep in the red. After a few more days of nothing but roe, I swallowed my pride, went to the volcano, and found the remaining teeth to finally build the last obelisk, only for the next day to get 4 more of them from the fish ponds. I have no words, because I'm busy eating this fucking stingrays. I guess the moral of the story is that there are no shortcuts to quickly get what you want. Similar to this started my decorating career, except it actually paid off. I'm not by any means a creative person and have zero knowledge about interior design. The only reason I decided to decorate my house is because I bought all the upgrades, finished my farm design, and was disgusted coming back from my beautiful farm to an empty mansion with only 1 bed. I feel genuinely sorry for Haley, because she spent the whole year in this shithole, and yet she never complained. Overall, it was refreshing to take a break from the grind and spend a few days at home. After memorizing most of the wallpapers and floors, I got pretty confident in myself and started experimenting with designs. That's when all those catalogs from the game come in handy. Now, half of my house is filled with retro furniture, wizard shelves, and many exclusive items that can only be found at festivals. It did take the better part of winter, but in the end, I think it looks pretty good, and I completely understand people who spent hours on this stuff. It's kinda fun when you finally get into it. Anyway, mods. There are tons of them for every taste, from massive expansions to small cosmetic tweaks to straight up casual bullshit. Initially, I wanted to skip this part of my script, because it's already fucking huge. But you know what? Fuck it, let's talk. I don't like playing with mods, because the longer you do it, the harder it is to get back to the original game, as the developer intended. I've been on the other side of things, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. Like a drug addict, you crave those tiny little things that make your game easier, faster, or batshit insane. This conviction has been with me for many years, ever since I deleted my last mod and swore to not play with them ever again. But holy shit, maybe I was wrong. In all seriousness, you do you. The whole point of playing games is to have fun, so I'm not gonna judge you for that, especially when there are some really good mods out there that fix children's hair, add new dialogues, and make your game more convenient. It's just that I had bad experience with some of them. More precisely, my obsession with automating everything made me extremely rich, yet deeply disappointed. Wanna know why? Because, at the end of the day, machines were doing all the work on my farm, leaving me aimlessly running across the map, wondering what to do. There was no more joy in collecting huge batches of wine, gemstones, and other stuff. Everything was happening in a second. I single-handedly made my game less fun to play, essentially reducing the entire experience to throwing items into a chest and picking up the finished products at the end of the day. But let's talk about something positive instead, like music. There are many words to describe the soundtrack of Stardew Valley, and iconic is only one of them, which is even more impressive for a game made entirely by one person. I mean, just listen to this.
What is it?
It's not an exaggeration to say that turning off the music while playing should be considered a crime. It's amazing, and most importantly, it fits the game perfectly. Truly, Concerned Ape is a man of many talents. There's even a concert curated by him called Symphony of Seasons, featuring a full orchestra performing his songs. They are currently on a world tour, so if you're interested, I left the link in the description. In summary, Stardew Valley, 10 out of 10, masterpiece, one of my all-time favorite games that was clearly made with love. I highly encourage you to play it, buy a copy for your friends, and watch your life spiral out of control for the next few months. Because this game is like a drug, very addicting and always makes you come back for more. You will lose your sleep, you will lose your grip on reality, and your social life will probably suffer greatly. But all of that is completely worth playing another day. It was quite a journey, folks. From a poor office worker that hates his life to a local capitalist who can buy the whole town. Thank you all for listening to my rambling. The next video will have even more pixels. Now, enjoy the outro.
I would like you to be able to like marry Robin or Demetrius and break up their marriage and cause chaos in the town.
Right.
But have all the consequences of that.
Right.